Art is often a reflection of culture and society of an era. The two are dependent on each other, and looking to one can often offer insight into the other. Not only that, art can often signify a direction that people want or hope society will go. Such patterns can be seen throughout any generation, one example being the progression and conclusion of World War II. The art of the decades preceding, during, and after the war can reflect societal feelings and also relate to each other by showing how World War II affected cultures of every country involved.
A prominent film during the World War II era was the Nazi propaganda piece, Triumph of the Will, and this is arguably the most analyzed piece of World War II. While it is a propaganda film, it is art. The film consists of techniques and symbolism revolutionary to the entire medium, and shows how big of an impact a propaganda piece can have on its intended audience. Basically what the film is depicting is the annual Nuremberg rally for the Nazi Party in 1934. Hitler is the most prominent figure in the film, and it features Nazi demonstrations and powerful speeches, all shot in stylistic and manipulative manners. So basically, to set up some historical context for this piece, it was shot soon after Hitler took absolute control, and it was after something called the Night of the Long Knives. Essentially what that was when the Nazi Party began assassinating all the leaders of the other parties. So basically he eliminated his opposition entirely by killing them. And basically the German people were led to believe that the murders were justified because it saved Germany from absolute chaos. And this is why prominent members of the SA Party, which is the original paramilitary group, are not seen in the film. They've been replaced. It's because they're dead. Basically, this film was directed by Leni Riefenstahl. She was basically a close friend of Hitler during his rise, and she was said to be one of the greatest female directors of the 20th century until her reputation was completely ruined after the Germans lost World War II. The film had two goals it was trying to achieve. It was trying to glorify the Nazi Party and display Hitler's absolute power. It wants to convince its audience that Hitler is a hero, that Hitler will restore Germany to greatness. And then these goals are achieved through these revolutionary techniques in cinematography, but more importantly, in its strong editing. Well, all these techniques are best displayed in the opening scene of the film, which I'll now analyze. So at the start, basically the screen is black for over a minute. This builds hype for what's to come. We don't know what's going to come here. The music plays during the screen, and it establishes a heroic and romanticized mood. And the first images we see are the eagle and swastika, and these are the prominent symbols of Nazism. Now we see the title. We are now in the clouds, and we're from the perspective of the pilot. We then see aerial shots of the city, and these are revolutionary for the time. And then right now we see the plane as its shadow glides over the city, and this is actually to symbolize as if it's blessing Germany. This opening scene shows the independent strength of the Nazi Party. We soon see Hitler leaving the airplane. The anticipation and excitement of the crowd surrounds him. They almost worship him. He has exited now from the clouds. Symbolically, he is one of the gods, or one with the gods. This second clip is another powerful scene, and it's of an outdoor memorial service. This scene opens with a panoramic view of hundreds of thousands of followers of Hitler. Hitler and his leaders, the SA and SS, walk down toward the empty road, showing the unity between all the parties. The camera slowly pans left as they approach the memorial. There's almost complete silence. We hear only a few brass instruments playing. The audience understands the importance of the event and what it means for Germany. As you can see, they almost appear in rectangles, again showing their alliance as a strategic unit and their supremacy in numbers. The soldiers now move together toward Hitler as a cohesive movement. Hitler now looks down upon them under his complete control. A low-angle shot shows Hitler at his podium. He appears large to the audience. We get a sense of his figurative size as a powerful ruler.
Pablo Picasso was born in 1881 in Malaga, Spain. He draws and paints from a very young age, and when he turns 19, he goes to live in Paris. In July 1936, the Spanish Civil War started. The Republican government was in power, and General Francisco Franco led a right-wing military rebellion. Germany and Italy helped Franco and gave him supplies and soldiers, but the nations that were allied with the Republican government, such as Britain and France, had a non-intervention policy. On April 26, 1937, the Basque town of Guernica was having market day. The Condor Legion flew over and bombed Guernica for 13 hours and 15 minutes. It was the first town bombed to scare civilians. On May 1st, Picasso read about this event in the newspaper and started drawing. And on May 11th, he begins drawing on 7 meters of canvas. The end painting is in black and white. It's not a historical painting because it doesn't simply document an event. It's representational in that it references but distorts reality, and is expressionistic in a representational and abstract way, because both the artist and the subject's internal feelings are made external. It's Picasso's expression of his pain as he hears about the event that has occurred in his homeland. It's non-objective in that it leaves room for viewers to bring their own thoughts and questions to the painting. His mastery of Cubism allows Picasso to manipulate the bodies and destroy objectivity and focus on physical sensations. The woman in the lower right-hand corner of the painting has a quite distorted body, purposed for the ability to feel pain. Her feet and legs are quite heavy and are dragging. The woman and child in the lower left of the corner show the contrast between the dead and the alive. Both have their heads thrown back, but the mother's mouth is opened while the child's is closed, never to make a sound again. The mother's hand is distorted to be unusually large and show the frailty of the child. Picasso has taken the familiar image of a virgin with child and used it to show the mother's despair at the death of her child. The middle of the painting, there's an arm that's holding a broken sword. It represents how defenseless the townspeople are against the bombers. The implied lines in the painting create a triangle that's a pyramid of bodies. Picasso uses many mythological references, such as the bird, the bull, and the horse. The bird is a messenger, and it shouts out a warning from the shadows. The bull and the horse are symbols that occur throughout many of Picasso's paintings, but here, rather than having sexual connotation, they represent a link between man and animals. It is a protest of the body. He appeals to nature rather than human or divine reasoning. It has been interpreted as a protest against modern war, nuclear war, and total war. It transcends the specific incident and criticizes the killing of innocents in any situation.
After the tragedy of the attack of Pearl Harbor in 1941, the USS Arizona remained permanently at the bottom of the Pacific. By 1961, many designs had been presented for a memorial, but ultimately a design by Alfred Priest was chosen. Alfred Priest was an Austrian architect who moved to the U.S. in 1939. The design he created in 1961 was initially chosen because its design in no way touched the USS Arizona, the most important stipulation for a memorial. In addition to the structure's form, the interior of the building has 3 components: the entry room, the viewing room, and the shrine room. The viewing room holds ceremonies and general observation. It has 7 windows on each wall and the ceiling, the number of windows totaling to 21, which can be seen as a symbolic reference to the 21-gun salute. There is also an opening in the middle of the floor where visitors can pay their respects. The USS Arizona remains at the opening in the middle of the structure, and visitors often throw flowers into the water as a sign of respect to all the deceased soldiers. The shrine room contains a marble wall with the name of all those killed on the USS Arizona engraved on it. The 180-foot structure is entirely white on the exterior and sags in the center, but each end remains strong. The design is supposed to express initial defeat but ultimate victory. Initial reaction to the structure was one of upset. Many people were confused by the structure's simplicity. That being said, the design omits overtones of sadness, as Priest said, to permit the individual to contemplate his own personal responses, his innermost feelings. The overall effect is one of serenity.
So kind of in conclusion, all these pieces were meant to evoke a certain emotion about a particular event. In this case, World War II. So for example, mine, The Triumph of the Will, the propaganda piece, which also functioned as a revolutionary art piece, just in general for the medium of film. Basically, it was meant to kind of manipulate an entire society into following orders from a radical dictator that launched them into a world war.
Guernica was used to evoke a response of horror at the total war and a sense of outrage.
The Pacific Valor Memorial for the USS Arizona after the attack on Pearl Harbor was supposed to be a sign of hope for society and a peace offering for all of those affected by World War II.